the bottom line is the Dolphins pull it off. They go to New England. They get the win. And Tua is now 5-0 against Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
And I know that it's not just him.
Sure.
But at a certain point, when you have one specific quarterback going against one specific team, and that quarterback's team keeps winning and winning and winning and winning, at some point you say, especially when it's Bill Belichick, you say, holy crap, this is significant. Like
right.
when you get to 5, that's when you start to say, something weird is going on here, that this guy playing for this team consistently has the number of the greatest coach in NFL history.
They're a tough matchup for the Patriots. That's the big thing. When it came down to it last night, picking the football game, I just went, the Dolphins are well coached, and they have more talent. And I'm not going to try to overanalyze on that.
And I think so.
I was nervous because it is Belichick. It's a defense that's very talented. They know how to make a game ugly and muck it up a little bit, right? But at the same time, I think the one thing we saw with the Patriots again last night is, hey, there's lack of explosive playmakers on the offensive side of the ball, and they're a team for the second week in a row that made some self-inflicted mistakes that they can't afford to make when you play the Dolphins, the Philadelphia Eagles. I think that's what it comes down to. We knew the Dolphins offense was going to have moments and make some plays and do all that. Kudos to Mike McDaniel for staying patient with the run. Mostert has over 100 yards rushing. I think that's the difference between the Dolphins of last year and this year. Through 2 weeks, when the defense says, we're not going to let you throw the ball deep, McDaniel, Tua, everybody, they're going, okay, we got another track star behind me here. Let's give it to this guy, Raheem Mostert, and stress them out. And then the Patriots, which we always talk about, are kind of a big physical football team. And they have problem with speed teams. They had problems with Shanahan's 49ers. And this team is very similar to that too, where they just can't match up across the board or sideline to sideline with the speed that the Miami Dolphins have and bring to the table, and that's where they're special. And yeah, the Patriots have to play a certain type of game, ugly, control the clock, don't make turnovers. And last night, unfortunately for them, that they made a few and it cost them.
One of the areas where the Dolphins need to be a little more buttoned up is these snap miscues. Because that almost spelled doom for the Dolphins last night. It felt like they're methodically just kind of ripping the hearts out of the Patriots. They're not going to get the ball back. They're going to move it into at least an easily makeable field goal. And then on third down, a fumbled snap, 55-yard field goal.
They miss
it, and it opens the door for the Patriots to try to drive down the field and tie the game. And there it is. Just ball on the ground on third and short. And if they'd have gotten that first down, it's almost to the point of night-night if they get that first down, or they're getting that field goal closer where they go up by 10. But that fumble, they lose just enough yardage. It becomes a 55-yard field goal. He misses it, and it gives the Patriots a chance. And Mike Tirico and Chris Collinsworth mentioned this at some point. Here's the miss. If the Patriots had scored on that drive, I think there's a chance to go for 2 and just get the hell out of Dodge and not go to overtime against that team with that offense.
There's a good chance, too. I think they're the type of team that would have gone, hey, we got some plays for the 2-point here, 2 or 3 that we really like. Let's dial it up and go for the win. I wouldn't have been mad at them for that type of call either, because I don't think they're the better team on the football field. So I think that's when you take your chance if you're them. But it's the second week in a row, to your point, that we've seen snap exchange issues with the Dolphins. They fumbled a snap on the first drive of the game last week against the Chargers on the 5-yard line. It cost them a chance to get points. And there was a few other, shotgun. With all the moving parts they have, the ball does hit the ground a little bit. And with that type of offense, just an experience, Mike, since they do so much movement, and linemen are also doing aggressive movements with what's going on in the backfield, it's centers take some aggressive steps in that type of offense, and you got to be careful and really kind of ride your hands, right with the center according to what the play call is, and that can be hard sometimes for a quarterback because you're trying to grab and get back to a Raheem Mostert who's also fast, and you want to make sure you get there. And yet the center's moving in an opposite direction, and that's where it can be tough when you're running those type of plays that the Dolphins do.
This fast motion they use pre-snap,
awesome.
It almost feels like, because as we're in the midst of it, I don't know that we're able to process it because we're focusing on all these different games, all these different plays, all these different trends, all these different things. It's almost like the dawning of a new age of offensive football, though. It's almost got a CFL quality to it. In the CFL, they can run toward the line.
Yeah, right.
There was a play last night where the motion started so close to the snap, and it was so abrupt from a guy who you thought was set.
Right.
It was almost a false start. Like, all of a sudden, this guy just darts away to his left. And
it's violent and
yes,
aggressive.
Yes,
right.
It's not your usual guy starting into motion where he just kind of gets up and he starts jogging and then maybe speeds up. It's like zoom. Like, everybody's set, and at the play, you feel like the snap is imminent, and somebody starts moving. And I just think that has got to mess up a defense. That's what the whole idea of it is.
Exactly right.
The defense thinks they have the play diagnosed or some idea of what's going to go on, and then all of a sudden, one factor in the equation changes abruptly and suddenly, and you've got to process all of it, and by the time your brain begins to process it, the play has started.
Exactly right. That's what it's all about. Just to get the defense to pause for a second, the aggressiveness and the speed in which Waddle and Tyreek can just fly across the formation. They're hoping that, somebody will bust the gasket as far as what they're supposed to do on that side of the ball. One wrong step and one of those guys are gone. But think about it this way. Like, say you got Tyreek Hill to the right and to the left is Waddle, and the defense wants to play cover 3. So the corner's up there on Waddle, and he goes, wait, I just got to stay in my deep third, a little on the outside edge of Waddle. All of a sudden, Tua, blue 45, and here comes Tyreek flying across the field. And that guy's kind of focused, the corner, he's focused on Waddle, and he's thinking, I just got to drop back and get my third. But now Tyreek Hill's going wide outside at 1,000,000 miles per hour. And you can get plays, and they do at times, where the corner's like, oh no, and he can't get out now wide to his third enough from what the motion has done. And McDaniel is, I think you heard me say today, last night, I think he's the closest thing to Shanahan we've seen in football. It's not just motions to, is it man or zone, or it's got a whole different tactical approach that I don't think a lot of NFL offenses have even figured out exactly what they do and how they do it to that extent.
I think he may be taking Shanahan to the next level. Shanahan.
He's doing it more through, let's just pass the ball. Shanahan does it and goes, wait, I still want to run the ball, give the ball to McCaffrey. They're doing it going, we just want to get Tyreek and Waddle the ball, and we want to give it to Mozart every now and then just to keep you honest so Tyreek and Waddle can keep getting the ball, right? That's the difference. And then, as we wax poetically every week, I mean, Tyreek Hill is, I played with Joey Galloway, I played with CJ2K, right? They were blazing fast. This is the fastest offensive player I've ever seen in my life. I think I would say that. Deion's the fastest defensive player I've ever seen in my life. Tyreek's the fastest offensive player I've ever seen in my life.
And, when we talk about play design and taking advantage of these great pieces, you mentioned the play earlier that resulted in the replay review, and there was the 10-second runoff when they determined that the knee was down in bounds. And they just kind of casually line up, and the clock's going to start running, and that play they ran.
Another quick motion.
Just
out
quick
wide,
motion, and
right?
Tyreek Hill is wide open, and they make it look easy. It looked like NFL team versus college team. That's how easy they made it look.
There's an understanding of what the other team's doing, their rules, and how to mess with it. That's what always makes Shanahan special, and McDaniel's the first one off that tree that I look at to go, he has a total, complete understanding of what Shanahan was doing in San Francisco and Atlanta before that, and he's taken it and put his own spin on it, but still puts as much or maybe more pressure on you than Shanahan does with the 49ers.
And that's part of this broader chess match. And again, a coach told me a few months ago, it's only a chess match if one team isn't all pawns and the other team isn't all rooks and queens. Right. But when you do have relatively equal talent, and you have an offense that takes advantage of and exploits weaknesses in the basic rules that a defense has, the challenge then is to come up with something else. And if you don't, you fall on your own sword involuntarily. Your system beats you because you get a genius like McDaniel who is able to, to just turn that around, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Right.
He's got the code cracked.
He does. He's got the code
and
cracked.
he is amazing because he and Shanahan, personality-wise, are so friggin' different. The sideline interview right at the half.
One of the best of all
went
time.
like, what are you guys doing out there? Well, I'm not doing anything. Just his typical, usual, literal self.
The delivery
the deadpan.
is great.
And then when he's done, he realizes there's a guy with the Steadicam that's going to follow him to the locker room, and he starts jogging, and he looks back at the guy, and he takes off in a full sprint. I mean, that's just
and continues to look back and like, are you going to keep up with me?
Yeah.
I mean, he is. He's hilarious.
Well, that Steadicam is like 60 pounds.
Yeah.
No, he's not going to keep up with you. But it's just, there's an awareness to him, and he's fully engaged in everything he does, where he's constantly willing and able to react to whatever you say and spin it around. And just like when we said to him, you can't hide money.
Yeah,
not trying to. Right. Instead of just laughing it off, he's constantly on, constantly thinking, and constantly ready to pounce with something.
No doubt.
So here we go.
That's where his Yale education comes in. And
there he goes. There he goes. He's just beating up. Hey, can you keep up?
He keeps looking back. He's so funny.
Yeah. Somebody needs to tell him how heavy that is. But there he is. It's like, okay, here, you're gonna jog with me off the field. Oh, you are? Yeah. Try to keep up with this. I mean, he can move. Now he's skinny as hell. That helps. And he was a player. I've seen so many of these coaches, when you see the pictures of them from their playing day, the first thing you notice is they had like a football player neck. And at some point, the football player neck dissipates when they're not in the weight room as much as they were. But he's, I think you would look at him and say, that guy never played football, but he did. He did. And he was much larger than that at one point in his life.
Yeah, but he's found his niche, and this is what he's supposed to be, and he's kicking butt right now. That Dolphins team is, as we expected, we knew how talented they were. It's definitely one of the 5 best rosters in football. You throw on top the coaching. You throw on top the defense still getting comfortable in Vic Fangio's scheme. They looked better last night, right? There was a defense last week that gave up some big plays, got gashed in the running game by the Chargers. That was not the case last night. They played pretty stout up front. We know they're still missing Jalen Ramsey on that side of the ball. We know their offensive line's not even healthy yet. So I don't think we've even seen the best of what the Dolphins have to offer. And then off of that, Mike, too, I'm not giving up on the Patriots here yet either, too. The Patriots have shown that Eagles, Dolphins, they weren't outclassed by either one of those football teams. Now, like we talked about, lack of playmakers a little bit, needing and needing to play a little bit of a clean game, which I think, the Patriots usually do when they'll get into that mode. But, Mac Jones' interception down in field goal area, I don't know if you got to see that or if you were during the third quarter taping, but they were kind of in field goal range. Yeah. Fringe red zone. Xavier Howard had clear position on Devontae Parker.
The one that it's like, was that a catch? Yeah. I saw that one.
Just don't throw it. He had gotten Devontae Parker pushed up against the sideline. In fact, I think Parker was out of bounds. He got him pushed out of the sideline to that extent. And there has to be a point when you're in that delivery to go, wait, my guy has no chance. I can't throw a back shoulder or a go route. And you just got to kind of abort mission mid-throw or mid-gearing to throw and throw it out of bounds. But he just throws it nonetheless. Xavier Howard gets it. They're moving the ball at another time where they're kind of got things going. And that was when Bradley Chubb made one of the biggest plays we've seen him as a Dolphin. He comes behind Douglas, kind of knocks the ball out of his hand when the Patriots are driving. And those proved to be, 2 big moments where, the Patriots had chance to get at least, let's say, 6 points on field goals, and they didn't get that. And, of course, that kind of changed the dynamic of the football game.
While we continue the Mike McDaniel Love Fest, I thought earlier of the tweet from, I can't remember when it was, but I have it in front of me. Here it is, early February of 2022. The Mike McDaniel resume from 2005. Jeff Darlington of ESPN posted the screenshot of it. Career objective: to continue my professional development toward the goal of becoming a Hall of Fame NFL head coach while contributing my experience, knowledge, and character to an NFL organization in pursuit of a world championship. That's Mike McDaniel. That is consistent with everything we've seen from him, the way he articulates himself, and he's on his way to becoming one of the best coaches in the NFL. Now, you prove that by competing for championships and ultimately winning one or more if you're going to be regarded one of the best.
Right.
But to see him against Belichick, somebody texted me last night from one of the other teams, this just kind of feels like changing of the guard.
Sure, definitely.
Where you've got the young guy who has the number of the older established guy, and you just wonder if this is just two ships now passing in the night, and one's going this way and the other's going the other way, and the Dolphins ship is the one that's moving in the right direction.
I think you make a fair point there. We know Belichick is still extremely smart. They had a good defensive game plan last night, but I think, yes, McDaniel can match wits with them, and then, of course, they have a more talented football team. And I think, between that, the Dolphins, I think, are about to be the new kings of the AFC East with the way this team is set up. And I give Tua and Mike McDaniel a lot of credit in two areas. One, Tua being patient for the most part. He had the interception that, he underthrew a go route to Tyreek Hill, or I think it might have been Waddle, actually, pretty egregiously.
It was Tyreek. It was just another
Tyreek.
one of those where,
It
and
just flutters
look,
in the air.
It's okay to say Tua's a great quarterback. Tua runs the offense perfectly well. But let's not assume he's got this incredible deep ball accuracy, because once or twice a game,
right,
there's a throw that doesn't go far enough.
Exactly right.
Now, maybe that's because Tyreek Hill's too fast and you can't outthrow him, but he had to stop and wait for it, and it got intercepted.
Yeah. No.
And that is not a great deep ball throw.
No, that is definitely not a deep.
Would have been a touchdown if it was put out where it needed to be, because Tyreek Hill's going to run right by that guy.
No, Tua has more arm than this too, but the ball doesn't come out clean. But if he throws that to the goal line right there, that's a 63-yard pass, right? He might be capable of that. But as we see on the highlight, and if you're watching, and watching us on TV right now, this ball gets caught at what? The 15, 16-yard line? So he maxed out there and threw it 47, 46 yards. And I know he can throw farther than that. But yeah, those are hey, Tua's on fire right now. We know that, but that's one of the limitations he has. He's not going to, be Mahomes or Josh Allen or Justin Herbert.
Once or twice a game, that's going to happen.
Right.
And it's okay to say it. We're both kind of like hesitant about it because
there's
if you say
Tua
that,
mafia.
you hate Tua.
Yeah, right.
It's Tua on. They're still out there.
I know.
But it's okay to point out what we see. What did we see there? He underthrew the ball. And if he irons those out, he is clear-cut MVP.
Yeah, I hear
He's
you.
already in the conversation.
Right.
But those are glaring. Those are big moments. And last week when it happened against the Chargers, it wasn't intercepted. It could have been.
Yep.
This week it was intercepted. You have to find a way to smooth that out. They're still winning despite it, but you just can't have those. And to Tyreek Hill's credit, it's not like, he still keeps going. And he doesn't. I don't know what he's saying on the sidelines, but I think he just accepts.
But that's
hey,
it.
you know what? You can't have it all.
Right.
You want the nice studio, you can't have the stick mic. Just
right,
like
right.
you want to have this offense where you're getting the ball all the time and the team's scoring points and they're winning games. Every once in a while, he's going to float one up that's going to get picked off or it's going to be underthrown. That's just going to happen.
Yeah. Listen, they got a lot of things that are awesome about their offense. Okay, Tua can't throw 65 and 70-yard bombs, on a line. And not everybody has it all there that way. But the Dolphins are damn good. We know that. They're going to be one of the best teams in the AFC, I think, throughout the year. And the Patriots started off with, probably the two hardest games out of anybody in football here. They're 0-2, but, we saw last year. They'll fight out of this, and I think they're going to still have something to say in this whole AFC playoff picture and be involved in this as the season goes on.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.